Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Upzone, where understanding politics is made simple. We are your two hosts. I am Tisha S. Waddell, former City Council representative for the 3rd District in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Mr. Elmer Floyd, former House Representative for the 43rd District in the state of North Carolina. We love what we do. We love you, and we look forward to coming and having this conversation with you every Thursday. Mr. Floyd, how are you?
Well, I'll be doing better next week, Tish, because it's the 4th of July, and my creditors promised me they won't call me on Thursday and Friday. I have a long weekend. So I'm happy. I mean, really, if I can get the next Thursday, you know, I will
Yeah,
be super pleased. Get that 4-day weekend with no calls.
yeah.
So I'm
Well,
doing
Mr.
well.
Floyd, Mr. Floyd, you will never be able to convince me that you have creditors. Never. And we say every week we go through this. You'll never be able to convince me.
I call the credit bureau. They'll tell you.
I could
They
dig it. I
they
could dig
will tell you. And I even got a thing on Apple saying that you can get an Apple credit card, and
it. Mr. Floyd, I
and
wish they'd stop sending me that mess. I don't want that mess.
well, I started to apply for it, and I said, "What's the heck of me applying for? They're gonna reject me." So I didn't even apply for
Ah, I understand. Look,
it.
credit just shoddy, huh? Just
Yeah,
shoddy.
so I
I
didn't
know
even, I didn't
better.
even apply for it. And the thing about it, Tish, is that you if you delete it, and I'm not that technical, it'll pop down later on,
Oh
you
yeah, for
know,
sure.
on your.
For sure.
I said, wait a minute, I deleted it, but it moved down about 4 or 5 calls later. I don't know.
Hilarious.
But what's going on, JJ?
That's
Everything
what I
is
was gonna
good.
ask you, Mr.
Everything is
Flood. But look, I have one announcement. I never have announcements, but I do have an announcement today. But I will make my announcement after you finish making yours. So go ahead and make your announcements, and then I'll let the people know what announcement I have.
okay. Tish, I attended this is not an I attended the Shaw banquet uh, last weekend. Last week, very good banquet. They gave about 4 scholarships, and I sat at a table with people that you feel comfortable with. Normally, you sit at tables, where people have some kind of air, if you understand what I mean. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, and the speaker was the pastor of Lewis Chapel, Reverend Stackhouse, and
Okay.
he said something that very profound. We
What did he
want
say?
to have we want to have vision for new ideas, but we want to use the same platform.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
And the
I
same
mean,
people.
but the same as that remind me, teacher. If you don't mind me saying this, there was a parrot uh, that worked at a non-licensed ABC store,
Okay.
and he also was a usher at the church.
Okay.
And so he was sitting on the shoulder of one of the ushers, and the ushers and the parrot would say, "Same people, same
Same
people,
people. That's a
same
shame.
people."
Yeah, we all got to do better. It's time for us to change out what some of these people look like. But Mr. Floyd, we say that all the time and it still never happens. Cumberland County Health Agency is providing free HIV tests in honor of National HIV Testing Day on June the 27th. Walgreens and the Cumberland County Department of Public Health are offering free testing for HIV and other communicable diseases. Listen, we need for people to go and take these tests. Clearly, we have an issue here in Cumberland County. Mr. Floyd, I don't know if you know this or not, but Cumberland County has some of the highest case numbers of newly diagnosed HIV infections and stage 3 HIV, also known as AIDS. In 2024, Cumberland County had the fifth highest rate of new infections of HIV and the sixth highest rate of new AIDS cases in the state, according to Alba Natal, a communicable disease nurse with the public health department. Um, a slight improvement over 2023, but still a lot of work to do. We had, listen, this epidemic has been going on since Mr. Floyd. You can remember, since I was a little girl, we've been talking about HIV, and so people, please get tested. Don't think that just because somebody looks healthy that they are. Don't think that just because somebody tells you that they're a virgin that they are. Please get tested. Free HIV testing on the 27th. I will link the City View ad link underneath this podcast because this is super important to me and I want y'all to get on out there. Mr. Floyd is frozen. I'm gonna go ahead and link it. Oh, we got to get Mr. Floyd's stuff together. I need him to not be freezing up on me. We have a great show ahead of us today. I'm looking forward to us kind of diving into a lot of what we have to talk about. So I'm gonna give him just a moment. I'm gonna give him a moment. I'm gonna let my friend get it together this moment. I'm gonna go ahead and link this below for you guys so that you can have it on our Facebook page. And y'all go ahead and start telling people, come on in the room, get in the room, come on in the room, get in the room, because they do not want to miss what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to have a really good podcast. We've got some good information to share with our audience. So get in the room. Tell your friends to get on in the room. Um, Mr. Floyd is saying he cannot hear. That's because he's been dropped. I gotta let him know. Y'all hang on just a second. Let me let Floyd know why he can't hear. Okay, that was Mr. Floyd. He is working on getting back in the room. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of things. I'm going to just give you the highlights. We're going to talk about Sheriff Wright announcing his retirement. We're going to talk about this faux win for the city of Fayetteville when it comes to the abandoned projects with Muhammad Construction. We're also going to talk about a Florida firm that is eyeing a Hay Street development on top of dun, 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 the parking deck. We'll be talking about a contract that we have come into possession of that demonstrates some questionable, it raises some questions for us regarding a parking agreement between the county and a former county commissioner. We'll also be talking about how NC lawmakers are expanding the watchdog powers of our state auditor, who, by the way, I have heard has been very, very busy lately. And we're going to talk about the North Carolina governor's vetoes. But before we get into that, I do want to say again, please make sure that you go get tested. Good morning, Shaquille. I see your comment. Yes, come on in the room, y'all. Don't stay on the fringes. Tell your friends to tell a friend, get on in the room. Listen, I also want to give you guys an update about some of the stuff we've been talking about previously. Interestingly enough, the political cycle has not yet officially kicked off, but it's already heating up. We're seeing some really interesting comments. I don't know if you guys do social media that often. If you watch us on Facebook Live, certainly you are watching us and you see what's happening on social media. These candidates are getting um, they're getting hot and heavy, and I would like to just go on record and say, don't nobody want to hear or see all of that. Like, tell us what you're going to do for this community and keep it pushing. We don't need these we don't need you working behind the scenes to try and make somebody else look bad. We don't need you. Like, there's a whole lot that we are just over and tired of, and we don't need. And even the underhanded manipulation that you don't think we recognize, we see it, we don't like it, it doesn't bode well for you. Run your race. Don't try to destroy your opponent. Just run your race. Run your race. And if we think you're good for this community, that's what we think. And if we don't, that's what we think. And that's okay. It's okay. Win or lose, it's okay. Um, I need to check on my co-host because I'm not going to do this morning without him because he has a very valuable input on all of the things we're going to be talking about. So give me just a moment. I'm going to check on my co-host. Well, here we go. Go get y'all a cup of coffee, a cup of juice, a cup of something, and then come right back. Mr. Floyd is working it out. He'll be right back in the room and we'll be getting started. I know what I want to share with y'all. This is a perfect time to share this with you guys. So I asked my next door community that kind of taps into what I'm talking about on next door. I put up a comment because I said, I'm hearing a lot about what people don't want in their next leader because boy, you hear a lot about what everybody doesn't want. So I put up a post. I said, I see a lot of posts about what people don't want to see in their next mayor. So I thought in preparation of this political season, I would ask, what do you want to see in your next mayor? Is there anyone in particular you think embodies the traits you're looking for and what you would want to see happen? What would you like to see happen from City Hall to make your community stronger? I said, I'm eager to see the responses and I was going to share some on the podcast. So let me go ahead and share some on the podcast with you. So I've gotten, I guess, about 10 or 15 comments. The first one is from Gilbert Chance. It says, I'm looking for common sense in the next mayor, someone who has fresh ideas for Fayetteville. Mr. Floyd, bear with me for just a moment. I'm gonna finish reading these comments and then I will get right back to it. Someone who has fresh ideas for Fayetteville other than the constant failures that we have seen. Somebody else said, someone of good character who treats all citizens fairly, someone who makes decisions based on helping the community. I thought that was pretty interesting. Somebody else said animal control issues, animal shelter funding, everything animal welfare. Same goes to homelessness, crime, and addiction. That was Roberta Staggs. The other comment about good character came from Sandy Scarborough. And then we had Kevin Bryant, who said someone who is smart enough to keep the money here in Fayetteville. We need family activities, businesses, here so that there isn't a need to go to another city for an outing. The number of soldiers, professionals, retirees here will support it as long as it's safe. I hate having to go to Raleigh to have a good time. They said as long as it's safe. I understand, Kelvin. And that's Kelvin Bryant. Diane S. said, we need somebody who really cares about this city and the people who live in it. That person needs to understand the financial burdens that people in this city are facing. No jobs, high rent, high utilities, high property taxes, etc. That person needs to spend our tax money wisely rather than throwing it on a bunch of boondoggle projects that this city does not need. I don't know what boondoggle means, but I'm going to look that word up. And if it's a good one, I'm going to keep using it because I like the way it sounds. So that's Diane. Um, John Garcia said, be more interesting and do something different enough for the mistakes not to be so obvious and repetitive and cheap. Lincoln had something to say about the lingering old problems and such, about why things that are a matter of public housekeeping have not been managed. So let us not leverage that we are just children or that mistakes are healthy. The average person has zero business running for political office, much less a video game clan. It's a profession. If doctors, I'm not laughing at this comment. I'm laughing because there's some agreement that I'm finding with this comment. If doctors perform surgery, if doctors performed surgery like politicians manage, or if business was managed as the political landscape, then there would be no one to even pull the wool and eyes and all such comparisons. It is clearly a parasitic sophistry of the human social dynamic, and no one in general outside of smaller group dynamics will manage anything other than ineffective and inefficient idiots the opportunity at any level to do anything other than play at a tale of love and lies and leave everyone hoping for another ignorant generation. The level of education going into, I can hear you, Mr. Floyd. The level of education going into, let me finish reading these comments, Mr. Floyd, into BSing people is so very Civil War carpetbagger. You would probably have to understand what it means to be there to grasp the humor as much as the painful irony in that comparison. And then he said, so what were you asking exactly? That's John Garcia. And then somebody else came in. Rob came in and said, for the city to truly turn itself around and needs to be able to attract larger businesses that are not just reselling someone else's projects. To do that, they have to get a handle on crime, the state of the city as it pertains to trash and social issues created by high poverty rates like homelessness and cost burdens. If you want to read more about those comments, go over to Nextdoor and take a look at that post. If you have some ideas you want to add on, go over to Nextdoor and add on to that post. Mr. Floyd, welcome back, sir.
It's a job, teacher. It's a job. It's getting to be a job, teacher.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's technology. Technology is something. So I'm sorry that I lost you.
That's okay. I'm
But
just glad to have you back. Now,
so
Mr. Floyd, we were making our announcements. Did you have any other announcements you wanted to give
now,
before we
other
roll
than
into show prep? Showtime.
there's if you're in the Wilmington, North Carolina area, they have a fourth of they say a Fourth of July rally, and that's going to be at 10102 North Third Street from 12 to 1:30 p.m. There. So if you're in the area, and don't forget that the 12th through the 16th, the NAACP will have this national conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Apple for Apple will have their annual activity at Iron Mike on July the 12th of this year.
Okay. If
And
you
don't
lean
forget
your
that
phone up against if you lean your phone up against your computer, you don't have to
and
hold it.
Sheriff Wright has resigned effective the end of this month.
Well, let's
This,
talk about a little bit of that, Mr. Floyd, because I think that's a really big news headline that I don't want to just kind of float over. So he did announce his announcement. He announced his retirement. He's Cumberland County's top law enforcement official. He's been there since 2017. So we came in at the same time. He has announced his retirement effective June 30th, 2025. He is the first African American sheriff in Cumberland County. He served for more than 30 years in law enforcement, and now he has the opportunity to go on. He cites spending more time with his family, and focusing on his health as primary reasons for stepping down. Chief Deputy Bobby Locklear has been named interim sheriff until the 2026 election. Mr. Floyd, now we both know that this is a tactic that is implemented in order to give people an opportunity to run as an incumbent, because incumbency, we are aware, does bear some weight, right?
Yes.
So, Mr.
Some,
Floyd, go ahead, what you say?
sometime.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. So, Deputy Bobby Locklear, should he choose to run in the 2026 election, will be given the opportunity to run with incumbency. There are some other names that are floating around. I'm not going to throw them out there. I'll let them throw themselves. But the county commissioners are expected to appoint someone to serve out the remainder of Wright's term. So they still have to. So let me back up what I was saying. If they don't appoint Chief Deputy Bobby Locklear, then he will not be in the position of incumbency. Whoever they appoint will be in the position of incumbency, and then if they choose to run. But ultimately, the county commissioners are responsible for appointing someone to serve out the remainder of Wright's tenure. Mr. Floyd, how do you think that this will what impact do you think that this transition is going to have on ongoing initiatives around public safety, fully staffing that jail, and overall establishing or maintaining a rapport of trust where public safety is concerned throughout the county?
I think that the person that he is recommending, there, if that person did not share his vision, I don't think that he will make that recommendation to allow that person to carry the sheriff department for the next 2 years. So I do believe
Right. Yeah, because he's not a fool. Like, I'm not seeing him to be foolish.
no,
Right.
no. So, so I think so. I really think that that person will will carry will do that for him. So I don't think it'll be that much of a change there.
Okay. Were you surprised to see that announcement come down?
No, because the, sh- the sheriff the sheriff has about, let's say, been in law enforcement for about maybe 20 about three decades. So it's
Okay.
surprising that he stepped down, given the amount of time that he has, and then dealing with people too. And then 1 year the sheriff didn't receive any funding. And when you're talking about working at half staff,
Right.
it first effect on you.
Right.
And,
And there comes a point where you're just like, I can go do something else.
I mean,
I can go do something
in fact, he's still young. He's still young. So
else. Hmm.
and he is an avid. I mean, he works out all the time. So it's not nothing unusual for him. So I salute him for that.
Well, Mr. Floyd, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in our city. In the city of Fayetteville, there has been a judgment awarded for, let me just say this. Um, Before we even start talking about this is garbage and this is crap and this is not good enough for me. I don't know if it's good enough for you or good enough for our audience, but essentially, the city of Fayetteville has won a $236,000 court judgment against Jimco Construction Company, a Georgia based contractor. Jimco abandoned two major project renovations at Mott Tennis Complex and upgrades to the Murchison Road Community Center. They sued them after they failed to complete work, despite being paid over $600,000 for the tennis center project and initiating work on the community center. City leaders say that the win helps recover public funds, but emphasizes the larger goal is restoring momentum to these community projects. I want to say something to the city leaders, Mr. Floyd, if you don't mind. The larger goal should be restoring public confidence in the city's ability to execute a contract. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, well, put it like this here, Tish. Uh, I hope that going forward, that the city will do a much thorough view of the contractors which they bring on to provide work for the community. Because Muhammad just came out, that's dropped out of the sky. That's completely dropped into our community, and
Mm-hmm.
that that amount of funding, and
And
that
I need to correct something, Mr. Floyd. I gave the wrong name. It's not Jimco. It's Apex
yeah, Apex and
Construction Contracting, previously known as Muhammad Construction. So excuse my error. It's Apex Contracting, previously known as Muhammad Construction. That is who this judgment has been awarded against.
well, it's a good judgment. Now what we got
Mr.
to
Floyd, you think it's a good judgment?
well, yes, because now you got to see how you gonna collect it.
Well, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because I'm looking at this and I'm going, I want to know who at the city level is being held accountable for letting somebody float fake bonds. Who didn't do their homework? Who didn't check to see that these documents were actually accurate? I spoke with somebody in the community. They said it took them all of about 60 seconds to verify that this information, there was something wrong with it. So in 60 seconds, they did what city staff was paid to do, but didn't do.
The only thing I'm saying to you is that the person dropped out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped out of the sky and received these contracts, and and when we looked to try to find something on Muhammad at that time, not Apex, we were unable to find anything. And so,
Or Apex. We couldn't find anything on either of those companies.
well, he changed when he went up to Raleigh. So
And
he
we still have not been able to see, and I've asked for it. We still haven't seen the RFP or the responses to the RFP. So the RFP is the request for proposal. That is the document that the city sends out outwardly facing to say, hey, we are getting ready to start we're considering doing some work and we need contractors who can complete this work. That's the RFP. They send out the scope and
yeah.
they say, send us back your capacity, your capabilities, some references, and your cost, right? That's usually all encompassed in that RFP.
Now,
Then, go ahead.
now the other thing of it is very simple. Very simple. Is that the person that reviewing the contract, one thing that is always there, your past work experience. Your past work experience would also provide a reference to whether or
It's
not,
absolutely.
but
And they ask for that, Mr. Floyd. In a good RFP, they ask you to provide proof that you have done something of this scope before to demonstrate that you are capable of executing on what they're asking for. So here's the crazy part. We still haven't seen the RFP. I want to see that. Somebody out there should be requiring the city to send them the RFP. Listen, investigators, ask for the RFP. In addition to the RFP, ask for the responses to the RFP. Because, Mr. Floyd, if only one company responded, what does the municipality usually do if they only get one response?
will they rebid?
They rebid. And if you have more than one respondent, it would behoove you, even if all of them are subpar, if nobody seems to have the right qualifications, what do they usually do, Mr. Floyd?
Bid.
So I want to see, was the process followed?
But I think that going forward, I think that from a council standpoint of view, I think that that this will not happen as it relates to a contract, because not only this one, but in order to complete the fire station, they're asking for $1+ million in order to complete that. So that's four contracts that the taxpayer would have to somewhat add some additional funding, because there's nowhere in the world that a new contractor is going to pick up an old contractor and it be the same price. But
Right.
but that's I just hope that going forward, that this would take place, and also with this new contract, with this new uh, agreement that the city may reach with 5 stories, 2 stories, 12 stories at the parking deck.
Well,
Uh,
let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about that. There's a conversation now that that a Florida firm is considering building on top of the parking deck. So what?
I
What do
mean,
we?
my first thing that if this is true, thank God. But if it's also true, I'm gonna cancel my membership with Planet Fitness, because the first thing that I hope that they do is at least put an elevator that goes to the fifth floor.
Hmm.
Okay. To the fifth floor. I mean, that's the first thing that they should do. I cannot figure out how the county would have invested $153 million to comply with ADA, and the city builds a parking deck and it require everyone around there that's 2 stories above have an elevator, and the city itself has a building with 4 stories and no elevator. I can't. I just don't understand that. There, how can it go this long without putting an elevator? But I can understand they were waiting on the contractor to do it after COVID.
Well, and one of the parties that's involved in this conversation with the city of Fayetteville is Lansing Melbourne Group, also known as LMG. They are headquartered in Manchester, New Hampshire. They have offices in Manchester, New Hampshire, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Concord, North Carolina. Interesting, Mr. Floyd. Interestingly, this deal to build an apartment tower or other project on Fayetteville's Hay Street parking deck could settle an ongoing lawsuit between the city and the parking deck developers who years ago promised the city council that they would build a 7-story building there. I don't understand how I don't understand how things just go away. Like there's still no accountability just because we get something,
Well,
because there's a breach somewhere that still needs to be held accountable and shored up to ensure transparency, to ensure faith in government, and to ensure accountability.
well, your friend that you met when you was running for city council would always say, "We know how to razzle and dazzle."
Yeah, but I think at this point there are people that are asking enough real questions that this should be an issue. This should be, as we're going through this campaign cycle, these are the things that should be discussed. There are a lot of very serious issues that have taken place that nobody that I'm seeing thus far who has thrown their name in the hat to run for these offices are speaking on. And I don't know if it's because they're getting information in closed session that resolves these issues for them so their minds are at ease, but we in the community don't have that same information. And so we either need better explanations or we need to see heads roll, because somebody somewhere is not doing what they are supposed to do, and it needs to be addressed. This is problematic.
Well, when you look at it, T, and you look at the responsibility, is that it lies with the city manager. But then again, your staff person must provide for you the correct information, so that you can make the best sound decision. But when that staff person does not provide that to you, then it comes to a setting wherein that you must review that person's work performance. Now, once you do this to me, then I'm gonna have to review your work performance, because the city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation. So if you provide me this four contracts now, one with the fire station and three others, then it's time for me to do a need assessment with that organization there. Now, remind you now, the council is only responsible for the attorney and the city manager. Anything beneath that lies with the city manager. So I would have to have some trustworthy person providing me the information that I need to make sound good decision as it relates to taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. Now, talking about sound decisions with taxpayer dollars, I want to give kudos to the Cumberland County Commissioners. Big win for schools. The county has fully funded CCS's budget request. Cumberland County schools, have they ever gone into a budget that they didn't have to fight with the county, Mr. Floyd?
Not the not since I can recall.
Me neither. I remember being in office and scratching my head and being like, don't y'all think these schools are important? Because why are y'all making them beg for money? But the argument was always that the school board had, or the school system, the school district had a fund balance, which was that rainy day fund, and that they needed to expend some of that before the county felt like some of their needs were that they needed to pull more money from the county budget. Now, Mr. Floyd, not so this year. Cumberland County Board of Commissioners earlier this month approved $103 million in current expense funding for the schools. This money is going to be sufficient to increase certified and classified staff supplements, and it's going to really kind of help bolster. A supplement is additional compensation that's going to help bolster the regular salaries. Um, Cumberland County schools can begin operating in the new fiscal year beginning July 1. This resolution was approved, and it's a big deal. Like I said, it's a
Well,
really big deal. The
I don't.
commissioners also approved $300 million for school facility maintenance and another $160 million for future construction of schools over the next 7 years. It's a big deal.
Well, in that, I think it had $160 million for high school. This is something that could have been done during the last administration.
Absolutely.
But the chairman at that time kept saying, and I thought that he was Luther Vandross, is that it's not a high priority.
It's not a high priority. I remember that.
It's not a high
I
priority.
remember that.
But anytime that you got to get, anytime that one must go on the top of the building to make a cell phone call, you know, uh, and you're talking about technology and keeping the school, going forward, let you know that it is a high priority. So the county was able to do that. But the thing that I have a concern with too, and that's going back, I think that the budget that they provided for the school system is great, but I just have a concern. I know we had the chairman of here last week, and he mentioned that they had a conversation with the local government committee as it relates to the food and beverage tax.
Well, wait, before we get to that, hold on. Before we get to that, I do want to say one more thing because I want to put a button on how very important this is. Remember, former Mayor Jackie Warner, who is now on the school board? She is quoted in this article as saying they, the commissioners, never fully fund a budget request. This is the first time they've ever fully funded and given money for maintenance. That is, I just need to make sure that you all understand what a big deal this is.
Well,
This is a big deal. Go ahead, Mr. Floyd.
one thing that you have to, and people don't understand, is not the state responsibility to build schools. Is
Mm-hmm.
the county responsibility to build schools. Now they can use state and federal funds, whichever way they can do it, but it is the county responsibility. And you got to bear in mind that some of our schools and most of our schools are aging.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're 50 plus years. So you're going to have to look at it. And I think that I think the Board of Education provide the county with a 800 and some odd $1 million worth of school construction repairs and whatever. So that 300 million is a stepping stone in the right direction to bring
Mm-hmm.
us up to standard, because that's what industry look at when they want to locate is your community. What is in your community? Are there activities? Are there schools? Are there that can accommodate this changing environment and this changing workforce? That's critical there. So
Right.
county for that, but I'm still waiting on my taxes to see how much it's gonna go up.
Absolutely. Now go ahead and talk about what you were getting ready to say.
The chairman mentioned that they had a conversation with the local government committee, and they indicated that the food and beverage taxes can be, I'm just summarizing, can be rolled over to this new venture in renovating the Coliseum uh,
Mm-hmm.
Civic Center. But everywhere that I read there, it said when the debt is paid. And
Mm-hmm.
you might that the county might want to not only the local governmental committee, but also to talk with some staff members of the General Assembly and get some better interpretation because
Absolutely. I think, listen, Mr. Floyd, I think what Kirk was telling us when he came on was very, if people were paying attention, it speaks to how we understand the food and beverage tax to have been initially intended.
yes, and it was said for the building itself. Now, this new what they're doing now is renovating the facility, so that is
Creating new debt.
yeah, so that is a new project altogether. And the problem, and I know we're talking about it, T, but I hope that, and the chairman mentioned it in one of the meetings, you never know what the General Assembly may do going forward. So will they allow the food and beverage tax to still remain, or will they do away with it? Then if so, that means that this renovation will require general funding expenditure. So they need to look at it from both standpoint of view. But I would have, to me, I would like to get a much clearer definition before the county began to advance with the renovation of that, whether or not that food and beverage tax can be rolled over to
Right.
renovation, which is a new project. So
Right.
I think it's a good idea for them to move it to renovate the facility, but I think that need to be clear because where they was putting it at, Tish, the footprint was just too small.
Mm-hmm.
Just too small for $153 million.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to invest that kind of money, I want to jumpstart some kind of economic development.
Absolutely.
If you look around there, most of the buildings down there are empty. So we mentioned to the chair, I think, that the growth here in Cumberland County is going westward. And
Mm-hmm.
county is more than just downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good idea that they went back there. And they also talked about that project could be used for future economic investment in downtown. But again, I just would like for them to just get a little bit clarity on that funding process before they
Well,
embarked on it.
Well, since you brought it up, Mr. Floyd, let's go ahead and have a little conversation about some fast lane favor. Let's talk about a parking contract that followed former Commissioner Jimmy Keefe's exit from the Board of County Commissioners. Can you see my screen, Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. So this is a contract that was entered into between Cumberland County and the entity Keefe Enterprises. I want to give you some background on Keefe Enterprises. This is the Can you see? I'm gonna show you another screen. Hang on just a second because I want to show you. Can you see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Secretary of State's website. The Secretary of State's website will tell you who owns a business that's registered in the state of North Carolina. Keefe Enterprises Incorporated is a currently active domestic business. Its registered agent is Catherine K. Jensen, who is the mayor pro tem of the city of Fayetteville. That's not a big deal. And the president and vice president are James or Jimmy Keefe and Catherine K. Jensen. Okay. So these two individuals. Now, am I correct that James Keefe is Jimmy Keefe, Mr. Floyd?
I'm not sure, but I know it's a key.
Okay. I'm 95% certain because there's three siblings, if I'm not mistaken. One of them, I think his name is Johnny. Then there's Kathy, and then there's Jimmy. And Jimmy is a nickname for James. Okay. So This is important because I'll go back to the other screen. Can you see the screen now, the contract?
Yes.
When was Commissioner Jimmy Keefe's last day in office, Mr. Floyd?
The last day in office should have been December the 31st.
Of 2024, correct? Okay. So this lease agreement was made and entered into on the 6th day of January 2025 to be effective the first day of January 2025. So this lease agreement became effective the day after Jimmy Keefe left office. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And it is between Keefe Enterprises, which we've just shown you who the incorporator and the president and vice president are listed as, and y'all can go confirm, is James K. Keefe the same person as Jimmy Keefe? If so, Jimmy Keefe and Cumberland County. Cumberland County, a body, politic, and corporate of the state of North Carolina. His former employer that he worked as an elected official, right?
I believe so.
Mr. Floyd, what's the policy behind being an elected official and entering into contracts with the body
If
that you
you
serve for?
if you're going to benefit from it, then you should not participate in the political process.
And it needs to be disclosed, right?
If you have a direct benefit.
Okay. I don't remember any of these conversations. I don't even remember this conversation moving forward. I would have to go and do some digging, but I would say this is certainly of interest to me. Again, I don't know. I'm not alleging that there's anything nefarious that's happening. I'm
See,
not alleging that the law was broken.
you
All
can't,
I'm saying is I don't know anything about any of that.
and explain the person is a business person. Okay. He or she is in business to make money.
Absolutely.
So you can't blame the person for negotiating or not him or her, whichever way. Now bear in mind now, January the 1st, the office is closed, and I think it was the 3rd and 4th that the staff will be in place working, and on the 6th is when the contract took place. So there was actually 2 days of work that this,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that the contract also had that month in advance for the lease agreement. But on the same end, when the Salvation Army requested some assistance 3 months in advance, the county said that they pay upon invoice. So I'm a little bit confused about that. But you can't blame.
I can't hear you, Mr. Floyd. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Keep
So
just talk. I can hear you again.
the
I
beauty
couldn't hear
of it,
anything. I
I don't
couldn't
have
hear anything you just said.
the beauty. The beauty of it is that I lease the land to you, collect them a fee that's paid the first of the month, and I don't have to do anything, no taxes, no nothing. I can't blame the man for entering into a contract like that. If I can do that, I don't blame him.
Right, absolutely. And again, oh,